So if you're learning a second language, English especially, there's this one universal frustration. I think every single learner feels it. It's that moment you open your mouth to speak, and you know the words, you know the grammar,
Yeah.
but it just feels like there's a pause, a sort of mental stutter before the words actually come out.
Right. That agonizing moment when you're trying to speak fast, but your brain just says, hold on, let me process that first.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
And it's the ultimate bottleneck to fluency.
It is. And it all boils down to two linked questions that we see from learners all the time. First, how can I think directly in English? And then more practically, how can I just stop translating everything from my native language?
And I think the first thing to say is, if you're struggling with this, please know that it's totally normal. Your brain is, it's designed for efficiency. So its default setting, its comfort zone is always going to be the language you learn first.
But that's the trap. Relying on that default mechanism is what kills your speed and honestly your confidence.
It's more than just speed, though, isn't it? There's a real cognitive cost.
Oh, absolutely. It creates what some linguists call cognitive drag. You are essentially asking your brain to run two completely separate programs every single time you speak.
The translation program and the speech production program.
Exactly. And one is always going to slow the other down.
It's like trying to run a brand new video game on an old computer while you're also editing a huge photo file. Something's going to lag.
And that's what's happening in your mind. This brings us right to the core issue. Your reliance on translation is like using your first language as a bridge.
A bridge.
Yeah,
Yep.
when you start learning, that bridge is essential. It's how you get from point A, understanding, to point B, speaking.
Okay, that makes sense.
But once you hit that intermediate level, the goal isn't to cross the bridge faster. The goal is to dismantle the bridge entirely. You want to create a direct, seamless pathway between the idea and the English word.
So when learners say, I know the English, but I freeze, that's the cognitive drag you're talking about.
That's it. You're running that translation program, but it's taxing your working memory so much that the actual speech production just stalls out.
And it also explains why some sentences that are translated perfectly word for word still sound a bit strange.
Yes, because you're forcing the syntax of one language into the grammatical structure of English. It often leads to some really awkward phrasing, even if every single word is correct. We have to bypass that step altogether.
Okay, let's unpack this and get practical.
Hmm.
We've established that thinking in English isn't a gift someone has. It's a learnable skill. It's something you can build through specific daily training. And the sources we looked at give a really clear blueprint for this.
They do. And the first few tips focus entirely on internal training. Building those habits without the external pressure of having a conversation. You're just teaching your brain to switch channels in a really low-risk environment.
Right. So let's start with tip number 1, which is describe what you see. And this sounds almost too simple. You just look around your environment and you start naming and describing things in English.
Yeah.
Quietly, in your own mind.
Exactly. No one else needs to know you're doing it. It's all about building that internal monologue. So when you're walking down the street, you think to yourself, I see a yellow taxi. The light is red. I am waiting.
Or if you're at home, maybe in the kitchen, the floor needs cleaning. I'm opening the cupboard to find a mug.
Huh.
This simple act of narrating forces your brain to initiate the thought in the target language.
Right. It starts the engine.
But wait, here's a question. If someone already has a pretty good vocabulary, doesn't repeating red car and green light feel a bit, I don't know, boring or ineffective?
That's a great question because the goal here isn't complexity. The goal is speed and consistency. Even if you know the word perfectly, the act of forcing that internal monologue to run continuously in English, even with simple stuff, establishes the habit.
So it's like a warm-up.
It's a neurological warm-up. You're lubricating the English parts of your brain before you ask them to sprint in a real conversation.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's about habit formation first. And tip number 2 just expands on that, right? Think about your plans.
Yes. Using English to mentally structure your entire day, past, present, and future. This forces you to engage with basic verb tenses automatically without thinking about grammar rules.
So in the morning, you're structuring the future. I will study for 2 hours. I need to send that email before lunch.
And then in the evening, you review the past. I ate pasta for dinner. I finished the book I started yesterday. You're organizing your own life's timeline, but you're doing it exclusively through English.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Tip number 3 feels like the most direct attack on that translation trap we talked about. Use visual thinking for an immediate switch.
This is the moment we start actively, burning down that bridge. When you see a tree, you must think tree, not your native word for tree, and then translate it to tree.
No middleman.
No middleman. We want to create that immediate neural link. The repetition of linking the image, the visual stimulus, the English word, the linguistic response is what physically accelerates the process in your brain.
So it's not just about naming things. It's actually reprogramming the visual center of your brain to prioritize the English label. The sources gave a great list for this daily repetition, just simple things. Phone, chair, book, spoon, tree, bus, window.
And if you do this every single time you see one of those common items, your brain just finds the English word much, much faster than going back to your native language.
Okay, so that's the internal training. What about when we actually have to speak?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the shift from pure silent thinking to actual fluency requires training your hearing and your physical muscle memory at the same time.
The voice and the body.
Exactly. Which brings us to tip number 4, a technique that is widely endorsed by fluency researchers, and that's shadowing.
Shadowing is phenomenal. I love this one. It moves way beyond just thinking. It's basically listening to a native speaker on a podcast, a video, whatever, and repeating what they said immediately, almost like an echo.
Yes, but the instructions here are critical. First, you have to avoid translation. The goal is not comprehension.
Right, it's replication.
It's pure replication. You are training your mouth and your ear to match the flow, the rhythm, the prosody, and the pronunciation of the language.
That sounds pretty intense, though. Are there ways to make it less intimidating if you're just starting out?
Absolutely. The sources recommend starting with material that's actually a little bit below your comprehension level. That way you aren't constantly getting distracted by new words. Also, you don't have to shout it. You can whisper the words or even just mouth them silently while you keep the rhythm.
So you're still engaging the physical parts of speech production.
You are. The key is to start slow, master the rhythm, and then gradually increase the speed to match the original speaker.
And the beauty is the commitment. The sources say 5 minutes a day. Just 5 minutes of focused shadowing is high-impact micro-practice.
You're training your linguistic muscle memory to move at the speed of native speech. And that focus on muscle memory brings us right to tip number 5, which is all about integrating English into simple physical activities.
So this is about linking the language to things you're actually doing. Mundane things like chores or cooking.
Yes, when you're walking, you narrate it. The sun is shining, or I need to hurry up. When you're cooking, you label the steps. I'm washing the potatoes. I'm adding a pinch of pepper.
And the reason this works so well, cognitively speaking, is that when you link a sentence like, I'm folding clothes, directly to the physical action of folding clothes, the brain stores that phrase with a motor skill. It stops being an abstract grammar rule.
And it becomes an automatic response, just like it is in your native language. It creates this incredibly powerful memory pathway. The more physical, non-abstract connections you can attach to English phrases, the faster they'll surface when you need them.
So what does this all mean? How do we turn these tips into a sustainable daily habit? We have the theory, we have the techniques, now we need a structure.
That's right, because turning good intentions into automatic habits requires a clear daily loop. And the sources synthesize all 5 techniques into a simple 4-step daily plan that works as a closed loop. It reinforces the skill all day long.
Okay, let's hear it. Step 1.
Step 1, morning thinking. The moment you wake up, before any other language gets in, take 1 minute, just 1. Think about the day ahead in English. Simple intentions. What will I do today? What's my main goal? This just sets the tone. It forces the English engine to turn on first.
I like that. Okay, step 2.
Step 2, describe your day. So as you move through your routine, getting ready, your commute at work, you integrate tips 1, 2, and 5. Describe what you see, what you're doing, and what you're planning. This is all about maintaining that momentum from the morning.
And this next instruction is crucial, I think. If you're doing this and you hit a word you don't know, do not stop the flow.
Yes, this is so important.
You just keep talking to yourself. Make a mental note, or a real one, to learn the word later. Because if you stop and go back to your native language to search for the word, you're just reinforcing that translation bridge.
You're rebuilding the bridge you're trying to tear down. The priority is speed and momentum, not perfect vocabulary in that moment.
The flow must be maintained. Got it. What's step 3?
Step 3 is your formal training, shadowing practice. Dedicate those 5 minutes, actively copy a native speaker. This is your deliberate practice for training your ear and your mouth to match that native speed and rhythm.
And finally, step 4.
Step 4, night review. Before you go to sleep, which is a time when memory consolidation is naturally at its peak, just relax and quickly review your whole day using simple English sentences. I went to the store, I talked to my friend, I felt tired. It reinforces everything you practiced.
It's a really powerful structure. You start the day in English, you maintain it, you train it, and then you close the loop by reinforcing it as you sleep.
That's the cycle.
So to summarize the core message here, thinking in English is a skill. It's something you build step by step. And it's not through frantic study, but through these consistent, low-pressure daily habits.
And you have to be patient with yourself. You are actively rewiring your own cognitive pathways, and that takes time. You're going to slip back into translating sometimes, but the key is just to catch yourself and then immediately reset that intention to use English first.
And as you implement all these daily practices, consider this final provocative thought that really builds on everything we've discussed. We know how effective linking English to visuals and physical actions is, like cooking or cleaning. So consider how expanding your practice to include other sensory details could accelerate that switch even more.
And this raises an important question for you to mull over. Don't just narrate, "I'm making tea." Engage all of your senses. Try thinking, "The steam is hot on my hand," or "The lemon smells sharp and fresh."
You're linking English not just to sight and action, but to touch and smell and taste.
By doing that, you're creating even richer, more durable memories. And you're speeding up the brain's switch. You're collapsing that translation bridge even faster.
That really is the next level of immersion. Keep thinking in English, keep practicing, and keep believing in the power of consistency. We'll see you on the next deep dive.